stand-up comedian bit this year. And unfortunately, last night after I had it all worked out, I slipped on a banana peel in my kitchen, and I dislocated my shoulder. But the show must go on, so instead of... What?
You can't play cards then.
It's my only income, and I've got to play cards. Anyway, the show must go on, so I'll just do this as a sit-down instead of a stand-up comedian. Now, I have a little tremor, so don't let that bother you. It's not that I'm nervous. And I'm not nervous because my neighbor, Ron Springer, taught me a technique for not being nervous. He says, when you look at the audience, just imagine them all in their underwear. So I'm doing that right now.
Run, Mark, run.
It's not a pretty picture, I'll tell you. And Larry Murray, you better run home and put on some underwear. Yeah, Ryan gave me that joke. That was good. You meet people under strange circumstances here at the Meadows. As a matter of fact, I met Dale Kiesling under some really strange circumstances last year. He was working on Ron's house. Ron's my neighbor. And both our houses are painted the same color. And Ron sent Dale out to get a tool. So Dale comes screaming into my driveway and walks right in my house. And he says, "I've got the right tool for you." And there's a moment of stunned silence as we realize what's happened. And I said, "I hope you're not looking for my wife." Anyway, when I was in New York before I came down here, my doctor gave me 1 year to lose 40 pounds. So I'm trying hard to do it. First, I took up jogging, but that didn't work because the beer kept spilling out of my glass. So then I enrolled in a yoga class, and I stretched and I squatted and I pulled and I pushed and I hemmed and I hawed. But by the time I got the leotard on, the class was over. So I did what any dieter does. I looked for an easy way to lose weight by eating cheeseburgers and watching TV. So I went on the internet and I discovered an interesting fact, and you people might want to check this out when you go home, that some shampoos will actually help you make you gain weight. So I ran and I checked the label on my shampoo, which is right here. And you notice it says volumizing for extra body. A friend of mine went to the doctor, a friend of mine from upstate New York went to the doctor and he said, "Doc, my wife's losing her hearing." He says, "Well, have her come in, we'll check her out." He says, "Oh no, she's too proud for that." Well, the doctor says, "Well, you can test her hearing yourself. When you go home, stand in a far room and call her name, and then stand closer and call her name, then go right up to her and yell in her ear. And that way you can see if she's losing her hearing." So he said, "That's great, Doc." So he ran home, and he stood in the living room while she was making dinner, and he said, "Honey, what's for dinner?" And he heard no reply. Then he went to the edge of the kitchen. He said, "Honey, what's for dinner?" He heard no reply. Then he walked up and shouted in her ear, "Honey, what's for dinner?" And she turned around. "For crying out loud, meatloaf, it's the third time I had to tell you." know a guy who lives over in the Oaks, and he shall remain nameless, but he's 91 years old. And he started compiling his bucket list. One of the things on his bucket list is he wanted to pick up a woman in a bar. He always wanted to go do it, but he's too shy to do it. So he put on his seersucker suit, put his Aquavelva aftershave on, and headed to the downtown hotel. On the way, he passed a pharmacy, and he thought, I better get some protection just in case I get lucky. So he bought 3 condoms, which he'd never purchased before. And the druggist says that's $265 plus tax. And he said, tax? I thought they stayed on by themselves. Anyway, so we went to the downtown hotel, and he goes into the bar, and there, lo and behold, is a beautiful 75-year-old woman. And she's looking for company, so he sidles up next to her, and he says in his most sultry voice, hi, do I come here often? Ellie and I were talking about our bucket list the other day, and she asked me, if I die, will you remarry? I said, absolutely. She said, well, will you invite her into our house? I said, absolutely. She says, well, will you let her sleep in my bed? Yes, I will, Ellie. Well, will you let her use my golf clubs? No, no way. Why not? Because she's left-handed. What were they again? These 2 cows are talking in a pasture, and one cow says, have you heard about this mad cow disease? And the second cow says, yes, it's terrible. It's a great thing that we're penguins. There's 2 old turkey vultures that hang out by the front pond over there. And these turkey vultures are so old they can't even fly north for the summer. So they take a U.S. air flight up there. And they're going through customs, and in their bags, the customs guy sees 2 roadkill raccoons. He lifts them out and he says, don't you want to check these? And the vulture says, no, they're carry-on. As I was coming over here, I was watching Channel 9 on the news, and they were talking about a truck that got hijacked on I-75 just this afternoon. They hijacked a load of Viagra. And the state police are looking for a gang of hardened criminals. People don't realize that the Viagra was originally developed in nursing homes. They used it so the old men wouldn't roll out of bed. Yeah, I'm waiting until they come out with Viagra in a chocolate bar format. They're going to call it, Oh, Henry! But I don't really need Viagra myself. No siree, Bob. The time I spend making my wife says the time I spend making love to her is the best 30 seconds of her life. You should have seen my wife when I met her. She was gorgeous. She looked like Natalie Wood and Audrey Hepburn combined. I asked her out about 9 times, and she turned me down every time. Then on the 10th time we went out and we fell in love. Pretty soon she offered me her honor, and I honored her offer. And all night long it was offer, honor, offer, honor. But, passion kind of dwindles after 30 years, and but we know how to keep the romance alive. Twice a week we go out to a romantic dinner in an Italian restaurant. Checkerboard tablecloth, candlelight, little music, a little wine. She goes on Tuesdays, I go on Thursdays. Okay, last joke. I gotta save some of them for next year. This is Joe for you golfers out there. This guy is a golf nut. He just loves to golf. And his daughter's getting married in South Carolina, right next to one of his favorite golf courses. So they get there on Saturday, and the wedding's at 4, and he asks his wife if he can go golfing. Absolutely not, she says. You're not going golfing on your daughter's wedding day. He says, well, I'll be done by 2 at the latest. I'm only going to play 9 holes. She says, well, I guess so, but swear to me you'll only play 9 holes. So he swears to her, and he goes out on the course, and he's on the second tee. And a woman comes out of one of the condos that borders the golf course. And she says, she's a young and she's an attractive woman, and she says, mind if I play a couple of holes with you? He's flattered that she wants to, and he says, sure. So they play a couple of holes, and she says, you know, I got some wine in my condo if you want to come in. So he figures, yeah, I'll come in. I'll still be back by 2. So he goes in the condo, and one thing leads to another, and before you know it, they're making love. And he fell asleep on her bed, and he wakes up at 4:15. He's late for the wedding. He runs back, and he says, I'm so sorry, hon, he says to his wife. How can you ever forgive me? I made love to another woman. I never did that in 30 years of marriage. Can you ever forgive me? And she looks at him and she says, you bastard, you played 18 holes, didn't you?